talk about the elements of this, I'm not going to discuss the details on this. You can just have a look at it. Business feasibility, what does it mean really? It is about the strategic fit. It's about the market conditions. So if you look at the market conditions now, it is actually pretty bleak with respect to the kind of getting the funding from banks, funding from the financial institutions, getting the shareholder trust and faith into your product. So at this time, it's actually pretty low. It's almost like a closed market. If you come up with some product and idea at this point of time, I think it's surely it's going to be a success, because it's almost down now. Everything people want to look up, it can't go any worse than this. It has hit its rock bottom. So you can actually time your launch of your product in the context of your market conditions. How is it in general with respect to the market? Again, that's what we're talking about, timing, right? The timeliness of it. So again, example for this is when you've got all the other options closed, you actually come up with your own product with something like the vaccine, for example. All the pretty much all the companies, all the health authorities in all the countries have been saying that the vaccine was just around the corner for the COVID-19 virus. They were saying, yeah, it would be ready next week, next month. They've been saying it for a good few months now. From March onwards, they're saying it's going to be getting ready next month. And now they're talking about 2021. So, but the point is, the first and foremost company which would come up with the actual working, antivirus or vaccine for this would be the successful one, right? Because it has timed it properly. It knows that it's going to actually sell millions. Apparently, US, I just read a news that US has actually bought in bulk a billion syringes to deliver the vaccines. So which means that there is a huge uptake, huge interest in not just the vaccine, but also a lot of other related products and services. So yeah, that's the timeliness. And the physical infrastructure, whether you've got the physical infrastructure to deliver that, whether you've got the organizational structure, the reporting, the resources, the hierarchy, and how culturally fit that one is. For example, I still remember one case where a product which is very popular and everywhere else was not popular, because I think it's Pepsi. They translated Pepsi to Chinese. A literal translation of that actually meant, oh, is it Pepsi or was it Coca-Cola? It literally meant bite the wax tadpole or something. So they actually tried to literally translate what Coca-Cola meant in each of the regional languages around the world, and they actually started delivering that. So they put that into the language and in the script of that local language: Korean, Chinese, Hindi, Russian, and then they actually deployed. And then it was never a success. People didn't drink Coke apparently in this market, and then they understood why. They wanted to understand why it was a flop, and then they found that that's because perhaps the way it was spelled literally on the carton of that the bottle. So it actually meant in that language, I think was it Chinese or Taiwanese, it says bite the wax tadpole. Who would bite a wax tadpole to drink something? So so it was obviously a misfit there, and they had to withdraw all the Coke bottles from and then reintroduced. So funny thing. Yeah, it's very, very important again with respect to what we're doing. So you've got global market. Everybody's working on for example, you've got Amazon, which actually pretty much works across the countries. So it should make sure that you've got your marketing, your promotions, campaigns, and the products packaged in a way that actually makes sense to the local cultures. It should not make them make them averse to your product. So that's a very important thing. Process compatibility, again, very, very important. How compatible are your processes? How aligned are they to your vision, right? So you cannot have something which you cannot produce. So that's why I'm talking about the productionization of your idea. It's not just enough if you've got one idea, one product, and you say, yeah, I did it. How can you make thousands? How can you make millions of it and make sure that all your customers around the world could access that? That's the process capability. And how capable are your workflows, your processes, your manufacturing aspects, everything. All of those would come into picture. Productionization within competence, of course. With cloud, for example, now we've got that advantage. You can actually reach out. you can spin a virtual machine in a few seconds. And that's what we did with one of our clients back in 2019. Yeah, almost a year now. So we did an exercise to help them with productionization of the data science tooling and platform. So we found that the team should be able to, using cloud, it's far more flexible, far quicker to create a virtual machine and to have the tooling and the entire tool set available for the teams, whether they're in Germany, UK, Switzerland, USA, India, China, it doesn't matter. And so we came up with this cloud based, a cloud solution driven platform, instead of actually having an on-premise, because it would take a long time for you to have the servers, deploy that in the server, and then from there to be able to use it. So why not take that the advantage of the cloud solution providers? And that's where we did the POC with Google Cloud Platform. We did some project with Google headquarters based in Holborn here in London. We also did a POC for a couple of months based within Microsoft. We also assessed and evaluated Microsoft Azure for the same, and we also did a POC with AWS. But of course, because Amazon doesn't have its own office here, we actually had to do it through their consultant partner, and through them we evaluated the same set of data sets, data model. We built the model, we deployed it, we productionized it, we made sure it is actually usable by people who are not technology savvy, who are not developers, who are not technical in any way, but they have got the need there. They should be able to use it quickly. So, making that reachable and accessible and workable for the non-technical persons, but who have got the need to do this data science modeling. So that's the project we did. And again, it's about the drive, it's about the reaching, it's about the enabling and facilitation of the solution across multiple teams, multiple different countries, different cultures, and different needs. Some teams came from risk, some teams came from financial consulting, some teams came from fund flow analytics. So there are different product analytics, customer analytics, markets, risk. So you can see that there are different teams based in different parts of the world with different needs, goals, and objectives. But still, we were able to deliver this through the same platform, thankfully, to cloud, because using that power of cloud, you can actually deliver the solutions in a quicker, better, and more cost-effective manner. I'm not selling cloud here. I'm not going to tell you which one has been evaluated and recommended, but I would rather keep it confidential. But we did this evaluations, POCs with each of these cloud vendors, and we came in for the report, and then we give the report to the senior management, and then they approved finally. I got to understand that the bank actually finally gave the go-ahead just this last month for the vendor that we proposed. So it takes some time. It's not, all these projects are mega projects, big budgets, huge set of people involved, huge number of resources required, huge money involved. So all of these are important. So I'm going to take this watch off. It's giving me alerts. I want to actually kind of turn this off. Sorry. I'm getting disturbed, and I think you're also getting disturbed. It would have been turned off by my son, who was on a holiday. Thankfully, I'm not going to get any more alerts. Thanks. Cool. So that's the process capability and process capacity to be able to actually deliver your solutions on a larger scale. That's called scalability. You're scaling out, you're scaling up. And then within competencies, do we have the competencies? Do we have the capability to deliver this? That comes from the skills of people, from the technology stack that we have. Some people, for example, some organizations would have Java-driven Java house, as what we call before. So, and some others could have Microsoft house, where all their platforms, the applications, technologies are all around the stack of Microsoft. So .NET, Visual Studio, C#, and ASP.NET, and some of the applications could be hosted on Windows servers, on a Windows operating system, and all the other applications would be perhaps driven using the Microsoft tools and technologies, and that's where perhaps there could be a good fit with Azure. Whereas some other organization could have like more open source driven, so they are more into PHP, LAMP as what we call, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So depending on the technology stack and the existing ecosystem of your technologies, the tools, the resources, people, you should actually kind of come up with the solution or the vision for your product. Legality, regulators, again, that's something which is completely driven by the regulation, the GDPR, for instance, the general rule or the general privacy in terms of how you would like to collect the data from people, how you would like to deliver that. All of these, again, is very popular nowadays, and we must stick to that. It's the GDPR privacy rules. A lot of other regulations on the banking side. You've got FCA on the we've got the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, on the food and things like that. If you want to come up with your own restaurant or anything like that, you need to have some hospitality industry health check done regularly. So all of these are important to understand whether your idea, your concept, your vision, is it feasible, is it worth going ahead or not. That doesn't mean that you don't go ahead, but basically it gives you kind of an indicative assessment. So again, technical feasibility, we kind of discussed and went through this a lot. Availability, reliability, these are all the non-functional requirements. Availability, how available, thanks to the internet now, we've got 99.9999% available of all the applications that are loaded onto internet and the World Wide Web. So you've got that availability sorted out. Because before, if you talked about the on-premise solution, if there was a power outage in your area, gone, the servers stopped working and your application would not be able to serve the customers. So the availability there is gone. But thankfully, with the advent of internet, the cloud came in. So you actually have your data, your whole tooling, your whole thing is on the cloud. So it doesn't matter what happened to you, to your local environment. So you're delivering better available applications now. So, and reliability, again, they're improved a lot. I still remember some time ago where if I want to use a product, it's not reliable. It's not. So technology was something which we were not able to rely on much. It's like some people, I'll take an example of my own. For some people who come from the non-Western world, including some people like India, coming from that point of the world, that place of the world, to the Western world, you actually need to think a little different. So for example, you need to understand the way things work, the technology, the reliance on technology, the dependency on technology here, because they have got fewer resources, fewer people here to do the work. They rely more on technology, more on automation. Whereas in the Asian context, it's a different thing. We've got the people, so we don't have to really use machines and technology as much as these people here would do. But you need to understand where you really are operating, coming in from, right? So again, maintainability, how maintainable is your code, your product, performance, how performance is it, the speed. Again, the example I would like to give is from the project that I did. I think I told you about that, where we were not able to deliver the report within the first 20 minutes of it being done. So it actually kind of reflected badly on the offshore team. So we kind of had to rework on that, come up with an agile plan to make this application work better. So performance, again, is very important. Security, very, very, very important for you in the context of all the things that are happening with cyber. So technology is making lives easy for all of us, but at the same time, it is actually exposing the weakness of the technology as well. So you've got all the cyber security aspects, cyber crime coming up, hacking, scams, online scams, mobile scams happening, using the telephones, they call and then they say so and so. There's so much of security. There's so much of problems with the data, people's accounts being hacked online, social media accounts have been hacked, of Instagram, on Twitter, they say, and Facebook. So there's that problem as well. So we need to be aware of that, make sure that what we are trying to work on or develop is secure from every aspect. Scalability, we discussed this, scaling up and scaling out. So it's not just about vertical scalability, increasing more and more power. So that's what we were talking about the other day in terms of how IBM started off with a computer which is as big as this whole room. That's the computer for them. That was a good 20-25 years ago. The computer that we're using now, the mobile phone that we are now using, is perhaps more powerful than the computer 25 years ago, which was filling the whole room. So scalability. So if you want to actually have more and more of those, you can't just keep adding the computers, not keep adding the servers on the top of, stacking up on the top of each other, the blade servers as what we call. So you need to make sure that you have technology which is which is actually simple, and which is very, very occupying lesser footprint, as what we call in technology parlance. So it should have lesser footprint, and then you should be able to stack up and scale up and then scale out as well, in terms of delivering to multiple other people and multiple other servers and applications. So scalability, big thing, and that's what is important. That's where, if you look at some of these organizations with like the recent startups, Uber, or even Uber Eats, for example, or even Airbnb, or Amazon, all of these, actually their fundamental vision is to actually scale out and scale up. They cannot say that I just want to have a product which works happily in the US. Google, Apple, Facebook, YouTube, talk about whatever, Twitter, all of these products and services, their version is that they should actually kind of be global in their usage. They cannot just restrict themselves only to one particular place in America, somewhere where they started off. So it's all about scaling up and scaling out, being able to use by multiple people in different countries and different continents, and have that sense of flexibility to scale up. So even though the servers are still based in the US, for example, you still should be able to use it if you're sitting in China, India, Russia, or Japan. That's the whole idea of scalability. Technical skills, very important. We should have enough technical skills to be able to deliver the solution. If we do not have, then we can either upskill our existing team, we can hire people, we can get some others laterally, that's called lateral movement. We can get some people from the teams in the same department or same office, we can move them from here into this. We can work with multiple multidisciplinary skills. So again, very important for us. Compatibility, how compatible is it with the overall solution? So we were talking about, for example, creating mobile mobile accessory selling website. Is it compatible with the mobile phone? Is it responsive design? It should work with a mobile phone as well. I should be able to access and see the products using my mobile phone as well, right? So is it compatible with that? So that's where you need to use the responsive design for the web. So you should be able to use your PC for the browser, and then you should also be able to use your mobile phone to be able to access and place the orders for the screen protectors, for instance. So that's a compatible aspect of it. Whether it's proven or not, I think it goes back to the disruption we were talking about. Sometimes technology is not proven, and that's why most of these beta products are not stable, right? For example, if Apple comes up with a new product, new watch, for example, Apple Watch, the first time around, the first version of it would be not that great, a lot of problems, a lot of loopholes. The first movers are the people who would like to actually buy that, and they're still not happy, but they're called the fanboys, right? So they buy that even if it's not really up to the mark. And the next version, the second version, third version of the product that is released after a few years, that's when it gets really better. So it's all about whether it's proven or not. And financial feasibility, again, we discussed this at length, whether it's within budget, funds available, whether we can borrow. And that's where we're talking about the business case. I'm going to show you an example of a business case as well. And acceptable return on investment. Are we going to get the return on the investment? If not now, when will we get that? How much will be the return? That's a very important thing for the business case, cash flows. So, I mean, most of these great products started off with being free. So for example, Facebook is still free, but they say you are the product. Google is a free search engine. Forget Apple, but the rest of the other, Twitter, all these products have started off free, but then they have got the other streams of getting the money from people. So the advertisement, sometimes subscription, sometimes you can go the freemium way, where you start off with a free thing and then you actually kind of step up and then say, now you pay for this premium version of the product or the feature. So it's all about those decisions you need to